Whoa, sorry there. Well, g'day viewers, Tim the Yowie man here, and behind me is the impressive facade of Burnima Homestead. Located near the New South Wales township of Bombala, Burnima is known just as much for its ghosts as it is for its rich history. So join me today as I shine the spotlight on both. But whether you be a true believer or a skeptic, be sure to keep an open mind. For not everything is always as it seems. Burnima Homestead sits on the vast Monero Plains, a lonely, desolate and windswept environment celebrated in folklore by the legends of old bushmen and pioneers.
It can be a tough and sometimes unforgiving place, with searing heat in summer and bitter cold, even snow in the winter.
It also contains many secrets, which is where our story begins.
This is Steve Rickett. Steve is the current owner of Burnima Homestead, and as you can see, he takes the homestead's history and style very, very seriously.
Will this do?
Yeah.
So Steve, tell me a little bit about the early history of this most impressive building.
Yes, Tim. Burnima Homestead was built 1892 for a grazier, Henry Tollemache Edwards. People don't realise that Bombala was actually the nation's first choice of capital. So this building here, Burnima Homestead, was built by the same architects, the same builders as Yarralumla Homestead in Canberra, the Governor-General's residence. So it's very, very likely this would have been the Governor-General's residence if this had continued to be the capital. This homestead built for Henry Tollemache Edwards.
Having built such an impressive structure in the nation's capital, one would expect the interiors here at Burnima to be just as grand. Grand, however, would be an understatement.
The homestead is a two-storey Victorian Gothic-style mansion with 32 rooms, including servants' quarters, antique fittings, period furnishings, and taxidermy. The property has a wonderful garden with 4 hectares of mature trees sourced from every corner of the world. It also features an eclectic collection of sculptures and a hedge that surrounds the former tennis court, separating the period stables from the formal garden.
From the time you first enter through the formal gates here at Burnima, you really do get a sense that you're stepping back in time. Steve, was that what first attracted you to this homestead?
It was one of the first things, Tim. When I came down the driveway, I remember the day very well. You come across this beautiful old Victorian homestead, this 1890s late Victorian homestead, surrounded by its 120-odd-year-old garden, comprising of rare spruces, pines, conifers. Just the whole atmosphere just took you back to an 1890s Victorian period, and it's basically a working Victorian homestead. It's been changed little. I'm the fourth owner, so there's been little change to it at all. So I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. Yes.
Despite its remarkable history, sadly, Burnima is also a place of dark secrets, including cold-blooded murder. So it is little wonder that it is reputed to be haunted.
What the heck are you doing?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Indeed, like many 19th century mansions around Australia, Burnima has become a magnet for paranormal enthusiasts. So much so that I myself once labelled this building one of Australia's most haunted. Tonight we begin here, a large fish pond that was apparently a favourite spot for Henry's eldest daughter, Miss Edith Edwards. She lived here at Burnima Homestead right up until her death in 1952. Her love for this fish pond seems to live on to the present day, for her apparition has been sighted here a number of times.
This includes a recent sighting by a local bulldozer driver who reported seeing a lady wearing a long white gown walking to the old fish pond, who then vanished. A number of visitors have also witnessed her ghost in this part of the garden.
Miss Edith, however, is not the only ghost to lurk in the dark shadows of Burnima. For more, I think it's time we entered the homestead itself. Shortly, the crew will split into two teams. One will be led by me in the upstairs portion of the house, while the other will explore downstairs with internationally renowned ghost author J.G. Montgomery. The crew will take readings, but they will also voice anything out of the ordinary that they experience.
Burnima harbours a number of gruesome mysteries, including the sudden disappearance of a young girl who was thought to have become pregnant to the home's original owner, Henry Tollemache Edwards. There is also a suggestion that the well in the southern garden was apparently filled in the very day she vanished. Local legend suggests that her body still lies at the bottom of that well.
So Steve, this is where you had probably your most memorable ghost experience in Burnima?
Yes, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I used to have the supermarket in town, so I'd wake up early. I'd always have the curtain open to let the light in to wake me up, and sleeping in this bed. It was about 2 o'clock one morning. I was sleeping here, my back to the window, and I could hear this like whispering, murmuring sort of noise. And then I rolled over to face the noise, and there's a girl standing right where basically I am here. And to be honest, it scared the hell out of me. I yelled, I screamed, I kicked the doonas at it, and it vanished just like that.
Vanished into thin air.
Vanished into thin air. I was so scared from what happened that night. This was probably the scariest thing I've had happen, to actually see someone in the house. I was so scared. The next night I was going to sleep in my car, but I sort of built the courage up and thought, no, I'm going to sleep back in this room, and I did.
You came back into this very room where you had the encounter right where we're standing.
I did, and I mean, I had to build the courage up to do it, close the door, put a chair up against it, thinking that'll sort of save me, but no, you just got to grim and bear it, yeah.
Not surprisingly, in a house of such age, the spirits of Miss Edith and the young girl are not the only ghosts prowling the property. Other strange phenomena include phantom phone calls, unexplained knockings, and even a wardrobe that moves by itself.
Good morning, viewers. Well, it was a long and cold night. Even Smudge here is coming for a cuddle. But sadly, a quiet evening was in store for the spirits of Burnima Homestead. But as one fabled explorer once said, absence of evidence is not necessarily evidence of absence. On that note, I think it's time to finally bid farewell to this grand old building and its inhabitants, both from this world and from beyond. But before I go, Steve has promised me one last surprise. One final question, Steve.
Yes.
Not many people would have the gumption to stay here for one night, let alone live here. How do you do it?
I know, I had the same thoughts, Tim, when I first moved here and found out the house had these hauntings in it, and they were quite active when I first moved here, so I was quite hesitant myself, but realised it hadn't hurt anyone the whole, past 100 years. I finally got used to the house, and I think old Miss Edwards has got used to me as well, so it's quite a pleasure living there now.
So you're not scared?
No, I'm not scared anymore. Every now and then you'll get something that will scare you and startle you, but the house, it's a pleasant house, and it's not going to harm you.
And the ghosts aren't going to harm you, or are they going to harm me as I leave?
Well, you have to be on your good best behaviour, don't you, Tim?
Yep, I'm on my best behaviour. Thanks, Steve. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying that a visit here to Burnima Homestead is a rich and rewarding experience. I'm Tim the Yowie Man, and as always, thanks for watching. Thanks, Steve. I think that's my cue to leave.
I didn't know there was an end to that song.
I was waiting for you to get I'm starting to get sore legs.